Good morning students. Welcome you to 10th standard English class. In today's video, we are going to see the remaining part of the lesson in Unit 6 Prose, the last lesson written by Alphonse Daudet. Now, we are going to see the continuation of the lesson from page number 164. I heard M. Hamel say to me, I won't scold you, little friends. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, Bah, I have plenty of time. I learn it tomorrow. And now you see where we have come out. Ah, that's a great trouble with Alsac. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Now, those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it? You pretend to be Frenchmen, and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language. But you are not the worst, poor little friends. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. We'll see the explanation for this paragraph now. Mr. Hamel did not scold friends when he failed to answer his questions on participles. He shared his regret for not taking French lessons seriously. They also procrastinated the learning of French, thinking that they had plenty of time to learn it. But now the Prussians wanted them to stop learning French and focus only on German. Next paragraph. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lessons? And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? So, we'll see the explanation part for this paragraph. Here, the narrator's parents were not eager to see him learn. To earn money, they sent him to work on a farm or a mill. And Mr. Hamel blamed himself for not making friends to study sincerely. He also allowed friends to water his flowers instead of learning his French. Next paragraph. Then, from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it, because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Then he opened a grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. Now we'll see the explanation for this paragraph. So here he tells that they must guard the language. Mr. Hamel said that French language was the most logical and beautiful language. They must never forget it and always guard it. When a person clings to his own language, it is as if he had the keys to his prison. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. I think too that I had never listened so carefully and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. So here, Franz feels sad because he had never listened so carefully in the previous classes. Next paragraph. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, M. Hamel had new copies for us, written in a beautiful round hand, France Alsac, France Alsac. They looked like little flags floating everywhere in the classroom, hung from the rod at the top of our desks. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. Once some beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them, not even the littlest one, who worked right on tracing their fish hooks as if that was French too. On the roof, the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? Okay, now we'll see the explanation for this paragraph. So in this paragraph, it gives about the description of the final moments of the French master, Mr. Hamel. That is, it shows about his feelings. So here in this paragraph, it tells that as the students were engrossed in their writing work, friends noticed the grave and solemn attitude of Mr. Hamel, their French master. Friends understood the feelings of his master. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him, just like that. Only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. The walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hope vine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all. Now we'll see the explanation for this paragraph. So, for 40 long years, Mr. Hamel had been in the same place with his garden outside the window. It must have broken his heart to leave all his favorable things. At the end of the class hours, Mr. Hamel felt very emotional. The poor man, who heard his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country the next day. So here Mr. Hamel was packing everything because they are about to leave the country the next day. Next paragraph. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. After the writing, we had a lesson in history, and then the babies chanted their ba, be, bo, boo down there at the back of the room. Old Hauser had put on his spectacles and, holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. You could see that he too was crying. His voice trembled with emotion, and it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. How well I remembered it, that last lesson. So here first we'll see the meaning. Primer means a book for teaching children to read or giving a basic introduction to a subject. So here, since it was the last lesson and the last class, everybody felt very sad, including that old Hauser who attended Mr. Hamel's last French class. All at once, the church clock struck 12, then the Angelus. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians, returning from drill, sounded under our windows. M. Hamel stood up, very pale, in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. My friends, said he. But something choked him. He could not go on. We'll see the explanation. When the clock struck 12, they could hear the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill, and Mr. Hamel, with a pale face, began to say something, but something choked him and he could not go on. Next, then he returned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, Vive la France. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word he made a gesture to us with his hand. School is dismissed. You may go. So here we'll see what's the meaning for Vive la France. That is an expression used in French to show patriotism. So here he tells about that he returned. Here Hamel returned to the blackboard and wrote on it as large as he could, Vive la France. That is, it is an expression used in French to show the patriotism, meaning long live France. Then he leaned his head against the wall and without a word he made a gesture to the students and with his hand, school is dismissed, you may go. So here we'll see the conclusion part of this story. So the last lesson by Alphonse Daudet is a simple short story at the beginning but becomes more emotional at the end of it. The students, particularly friends who took the master and French language as a part of their life, suddenly one day faces the crucial situation that French language is no more their priority language to learn. Only when they are forbidden to learn the language, they realized and understood the importance and beauty of it. Even the village headman attended to the school to pay their respect to the French master for his 40 years of faithful service and showing their respect for the country that was there no more. Then here a famous saying, as a famous saying goes, we appreciate the value of something only when we are about to lose it. Friends, along with Mr. Hamel, student and the village elders realized the worth, value and beauty of French language and felt remorse for not giving it proper importance when they had time. Dear students, hope you have understood the lesson. Once again go through the lesson which is given in the PDF. And now we'll go for the grammar part. Next we are going to see the grammar part, nominalization, given in the textbook page number 105. We'll see the definition. Nominalization, that is, the term nominalization refers to the process of producing a noun from another part of speech by adding a derivational affix. In the previous video class itself we have seen what is meant by affix, that is, it refers to the prefix and suffixes. A grammatical expression is turned into a noun phrase when we normalize a sentence. For example, see the first one. After 1885, trade with Europe grew. And here grew refers to the verb. And see the next example, that is B. After 1885, there was a growth in trade with Europe. So here if you see the word growth, it is a noun. So here we are adding the suffix th. So in sentence B, we have used the word growth, which is a noun form of the verb grow, by adding the suffix th. So like that we can use what? For example, encourage, encouragement, comfort, comfortable. So here we can add this verb is changed into a noun by adding the suffix th. Nominalization can be done in three different ways. First one by adding suffixes, and the second one without adding any suffix, and the third one is, that is, the word do not undergo any change. So in three ways there can be done in the nominalization can be done in three ways. That is, first one by adding the suffixes, second one without any adding suffix, and third one that the noun will not undergo any change. First we'll see the first type. That is, we can add suffixes like meant, shun, ness, action, that is ation, ation. Next one, ity, all, to verbs and adjectives. See the example, admire, admiration, ation. Next, arrive, arrival, al, suffix. Careless, carelessness, ness, it is a suffix. Fail, failure, ure. Include, inclusion, that is sion, suffix. Intense, intensity, ity. Next, punish, punishment, ment. So This is one type of forming nominalization using or adding suffix to the end of the root word. The second type is, that is, some words are turned into nouns without any adding suffixes. Example, bleed, blood, lose, loss, prove, proof, sell, sale, speak, speech. So these are all the nouns without adding any suffix. We are able to change it into nominalization. And the third one, some words do not undergo any change when they are used as nouns. So the word will be as it is without any change. You can form the nominalization. So in the third type, you can see the examples. Attempt, attempt, change, change, control, control, desire, desire, escape, escape. So here these words do not undergo any change when they are used as nouns. We will see the next exercise. Write the noun forms of the following words. Here they are given few words. They are asking you to write the form the what is the noun form for the following words. First one, beautiful. So noun form is beauty. Next one, breathe, breath, enter, entry, know, knowledge, deafen, deafness, zealous, zeal, familiar, familiarity, then accept, acceptance, dangerous, danger. So these are all the noun forms for the following words, and try to copy all the book back exercise. Students, hope you have understood this grammar part and you can complete the book back exercise. Once again, go through the pages in the book back, that is page number 105 and 106. Thank you students. May God bless you.